Alright, hey, how's it going out there? So what we're doing today is we're feeding scobies. And what do we feed scobies? SCOBY snacks! What the heck are SCOBY snacks? Well, SCOBY snacks are green tea with sugar, because that's what scobies like to eat. And we've brewed our tea, and there's if you haven't seen it already, there's another video about brewing your SCOBY snacks. So once we're finished with the brewing, what we're doing is we've let it cool overnight with the tea bags in the tea, and now we're pulling all the tea bags out without really contaminating our tea at all. We're just using two clean wooden spoons. One of them is perforated and the other's not, so you can squeeze tea bags on their way out, making sure that you get all the wonderful caffeine for your SCOBY and the wonderful flavor for your kombucha. And I believe I've gotten all of them now. Every once in a while another tea bag will surprise you and end up in there when you don't want it to be, but just watch what's happening on during all your pours and everything should be fine. So we're going to discard this. And the next thing we do is we've got a bowl of rinse water here, and we're going to put our mama SCOBY into the rinse water. We're going to fill the rinse water. No, we're not going to fill the rinse water. We're going to fill the mama SCOBY jar with tea up to about here, and then we're going to replace the SCOBY back in. I'm going to try and do that and stay situated in such a way that you can watch it all happen. Now occasionally you'll have your rinse water out and something like a stray hair will end up in the water. It's very easy to see when you're keeping your attention on all things clean, as we are today in our full body suit and our head sock and breathing mask. Not going to infect any scobies during this particular feeding. It's not necessary that you take all these precautions. You'll notice that I'm not wearing any rubber gloves, and that's because the SCOBY enjoys interacting with my oils, so I don't want to create a barrier there at all. I just want to make sure I have very clean hands so that in handling the SCOBY I won't risk infecting it, and do everything I can to keep contaminants from the rest of my body getting into any of the brewing jars. So my rule of thumb at Thombucha Labs is if I'm opening the SCOBY jar, then I'm going to be in full gear. Next thing we do, we just reach in gently and pull out this entire mass together. As you can see, we've got a very young, fresh, healthy SCOBY on this side with a little extra layer there that's very thin. And then we've got our original mama SCOBY down here, and this is actually none other than Queen Delilah. Put them in the rinse water nice and gently, and give them a nice little rub to get rid of excess yeast that's no longer functional to the colony. I even flip them over here, flip the SCOBY over, and give Delilah down here, the mother of everything Thombucha Labs, a nice little rinse. She's doing fantastic. So the next thing we're going to do, we've left starter fluid when we harvested yesterday, so our starter fluid is already in the jar, and we just need to feed the SCOBY snacks into the jar and replace the mama. She'll be happy. We'll put a cover on her and put her away for another 12 days. You want to make sure that even after you replace the SCOBY, there's a good ½ inch to an inch between the top and the top surface of your SCOBY. And so in this case, I've poured a little bit too much in. That's okay if we get a little bit of starter fluid back in this fresh batch of SCOBY snacks, because it's all going to be fed to SCOBYs today. Now you'll get some bubbles at the top of your jar when you finish your rinse and replace the SCOBY. You just want to make sure that you don't get those bubbles trapped underneath the SCOBY, because that can cause bubbles and bubbles can cause issues that are a little bit challenging for you. So just make sure it drops under that level. And then you want to make sure that the top level of the tea is achieved before your glass starts to bend inward. That's going to be the most comfortable way for the new SCOBY layer to form. Now you'll notice when we replace this one, we got a little bit of sinkage. That's going to be fine. We may get these layers to rise back up to the top. We may not during this particular brew cycle, but it's of no consequence. The kombucha that's brewed will be fantastic nonetheless. We're going to replace our top coat here, making sure that no stray vinegar flies or potential contaminants have gotten into the jar. You can use that nice ridge that was formed last time we stretched a rubber band around it. Very simply, get both your hands inside a rubber band for a jar this size and allow it to snap back. I like to remove any little pleats around the side of the top cloth just as an extra step against potential contaminants. You may see some that I can't from this angle, but at any rate, we've just fed our mama SCOBY.